The Chevrolet Suburban is a series of automobiles built by the Chevrolet division of General Motors. The name started in 1934 for the 1935 U.S. model year, making it the longest continuously used automobile nameplate in production. It has traditionally been one of General Motors' most profitable vehicles. The 1935 first-generation Carryall Suburban was one of the first production all-metal bodied station wagons. It now has a full-size SUV body style and comes with 3 engine options: a 5.3-liter V8, 6.2-liter V8 or a 3.0-liter inline-6 turbo diesel. The Suburban was additionally produced under the GMC marque until the GMC version was rebranded as the Yukon XL. It was also briefly marketed as a Holden. For most of its recent history, the Suburban has been a station wagon minus bodied version of the Chevrolet pickup truck, including the Chevrolet Suburban and Silverado series of truck-based vehicles. Cadillac offers a version called the Escalade ESV. The Suburban is sold in the United States, Canada, Central America, Chile, Dominican Republic, Bolivia, Mexico, Peru, Philippines, and the Middle East, while the Yukon XL is sold only in North America and the Middle East territories. A 2018 iSeeCars.com study identified the Chevrolet Suburban as the car that is driven the most each year. A 2019 iSeeCars.com study named the Chevrolet Suburban the second-ranked longest-lasting vehicle. In December 2019, the Hollywood Chamber of Commerce unveiled a Hollywood Walk of Fame star for the Suburban, noting that the Suburban had been in 1,750 films and TV shows since 1952. Several automotive companies in the United States use the Suburban designation to indicate a windowed, station wagon-type body on a commercial frame, including DeSoto, Dodge, Plymouth, Studebaker, Nash, Chevrolet, and GMC. The Suburban name was, in fact, a trademark of U.S. Body and Forging County of Tell City, Indiana, which built wooden station wagon bodies for all of these automobile and light truck chassis and more. Chevrolet began production of its all-steel, Carryall Suburban in 1934. GMC brought out its version in 1937. These vehicles were also known as the Suburban Carryall, until GM shortened the name to simply Suburban. GMC's equivalent to the Chevrolet model was originally named Suburban, as well, until being rebranded as Yukon XL for the 2000 model year. With the end of production of the Dodgetown wagon in 1966 and the Plymouth Fury Suburban station wagon in 1978, only General Motors continued to manufacture a vehicle branded as a Suburban, and GM was awarded an exclusive trademark on the name in 1988. The Chevrolet Suburban is one of the largest SUVs on the market today. It has outlasted competitive vehicles such as the International Harvester Travelall, Jeep Wagoneer, and the Ford Excursion. The latest competitor is the extended Ford Expedition L, which replaced the Excursion. The Suburban of today is a full-size SUV with 3 rows of seating, a full pickup truck frame, and V8 engine. It is one of the few station wagons available with all bench rows. The Suburban is the same height and width as the Chevrolet Tahoe, although the Suburban is 20 inches longer. The extra length provides a full-sized cargo area behind the 9-passenger seating area. From 1973 to 2013, and again from 2016 to 2020, it had been available in half-ton and 3/4-ton versions. Chevrolet discontinued this option for the public during the 10th-generation model's tenure in 2013 due to slow sales. It would return as an exclusive to rental, fleet, and government services with the 11th generation starting with the 2016 model year with a 4WD and LT trim option, but soft sales would result in Chevrolet discontinuing production on this feature in 2020. In recent years, the Suburban has been used as a police truck, fire chief's vehicle, or EMS vehicle. Suburbans are also used as limousines. Gothic black Suburban vehicles are commonly used by federal intelligence services, such as Secret Service for example. Secret Service operates fully armored versions of the Suburban for the President of the United States when he attends less formal engagements. The Suburban is very popular with the Federal Bureau of Investigation as a service vehicle. In the late 1990s, GM also introduced a RHD version of the Suburban, badged as a Holden, for the Australian market. Sales were low and GM withdrew the model in 2000 from Holden's lineup. In 2019, Chevrolet looked at bringing the Suburban back to the region as a converted RWD import through Holden Special Vehicles but using the Chevrolet badge, but is holding off on those plans because of numerous factors and partly due to the situation involving GM's decision to retire the Holden brand in 2020. In 2015, the Suburban commemorated its 80th anniversary at General Motors' Arlington assembly plant where the 10 millionth Suburban was produced. A video was posted on Chevrolet's YouTube channel about its 80-year legacy. In a February 26, 2018 article celebrating the vehicle's 83rd year, Car and Driver notes that the Suburban's longevity is due to being one of GM's best-selling brands, its appeal to customers across the board regardless of race, gender, class, or political affiliation, and a unique loyalty to the SUV. In an interview from Chevrolet's truck, SUV marketing executive Sandor Pischer, who recalls an event celebrating the truck division's 100th anniversary when they asked about what they named their vehicles. "It's a funny question, but it really is an intriguing point," Pischer says. "People name what they love. And they love their Suburbans." On December 5, 2019, the Chevrolet Suburban became the first vehicle to be awarded a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame by the Hollywood Chamber of Commerce for its excellence in film and television, having appeared in more than 1,750 films and television series since 1952, and can also claim to have appeared in at least one television series every year since 1956, and at least one film every year since 1960, the most ever for an automobile of any type. The star, placed at the corner of Hollywood Boulevard and Highland Avenue, will also carry the Chevrolet bowtie symbol instead of the entertainment symbols, another first for the Walk of Fame. There have been a total of 12 generations of Chevrolet Suburban since its 1934 debut, the latest due to go on sale in spring 2020 as a 2021 model. First generation. Prior to the first generation Suburban, in 1933 the Chevrolet Master had offered a station wagon body built on the 1/2-ton truck frame. This model was specifically built for National Guard and Civilian Conservation Corps units. Much of the body was constructed from wood and could seat up to 8 occupants. The actual first-generation model was offered by Chevrolet as a Carryall Suburban, a tough, no-nonsense load carrier featuring a station wagon body on the chassis of a small truck. Focused on functionality, the concept was literally to carry all, the whole family and their gear were to find sufficient space in one truck. It shared the front sheet metal and frames of the 1/2-ton pickup models of the same year, but featured all-metal wagon bodies differing very little in shape from contemporary woody wagons. Seating for up to 8 occupants was available, with 3 in the front row, 2 in the middle row, and 3 in the rear row. Either the side-hinged rear panel doors or a rear tailgate lift window could be selected for cargo area access. Second-generation Suburbans were built in model years 1941, 1942, and 1946. It was also produced during the war as a military transport vehicle. Seating for up to 8 occupants was available. Models with rear panel doors were designated 3106, while those with tailgates were designated 3116. The Chevrolet versions were equipped a 216 cubic inch 6-cylinder engine. The GMC version was equipped with a 228 cubic inch 6-cylinder engine. It shared much of its mechanicals with the AK series trucks. Third generation. This model generation was based on the Chevrolet Advanced Design series of pickups. Beginning in 1953, the Hydra-Motich 4-speed automatic transmission was available in GMC models and in the 1954 model year Chevrolet Suburbans. Models with rear panel doors were designated 3106, while those with tailgates were designated 3116. In 1952, the Suburban came with either a tailgate or panel doors. The front bench seat was split, with 2 seats on the driver's side and a single seat on the passenger side, which slid forward for access to the rear 2 rows of seats. The second row was a 2/3 seat, requiring occupants to move past the front passenger seat, as well as the second row seats to access the third row. This was the last series to feature Canopy Express models. The design of the 1947 Suburban would inspire the design of the Chevrolet HHR over half a century later. Fourth-generation updated engineering and styling on Chevrolet trucks was not introduced until March 25, 1955, in the middle of the model year that GM called the Chevrolet Task Force, GMC Blue Chip Series. All Chevrolet and GMC truck models received new styling that included a flatter hood, front fenders flush with the body, and a trapezoid grille. The truck's V-shaped speedometer was shared with passenger car models. Engines included I6 and the small block V8s. Chevrolet used its 265 volts 8 engine, later evolving it to a 283 cubic inch version. GMC based their V8 on a Pontiac design. Standard Suburban model numbers continued from the previous series, but the introduction of 4-wheel drive models in 1957 added the numbers 3156 for 4WD Suburbans with panel doors, and 3166 for 4WD Suburbans with tailgates. The Suburban name was also used on GM's fancy 2-door GMC 100 series pickup trucks from 1955 to 1959, called the Suburban Pickup, which was similar to the Chevrolet Cameo Carrier, but it was dropped at the same time as Chevy's Cameo in March 1958 when GM released the new all-steel, fleet-side, bed option replacing the Cameo Suburban Pickup fiberglass bedsides. The Suburban name was never used again on a 1/2-ton pickup after the discontinuance of the Suburban Pickup. Although not documented due to a fire that destroyed the records, the production of Suburban pickups is understood to be 300 or fewer each model year. It was offered from 1955 to 1958. Fifth generation. The styling of the 1960–1961 model year took cues from the late 1950s Chevrolet vehicles and had large oval ports above the grille. Front independent suspension was new for 1960. The cab featured a wrap-around windshield, while tailgate and panel door rear openings were available. From 1962 onwards, the hood styling was more conservative, with hoods that eliminated the large ports. In 1964, the front glass area was updated to a flatter windshield and larger door glass. 1,150 pounds of cargo could be carried in the back. This model series introduced a factory-equipped 4WD option for the first time. The 2WD models introduced a torsion bar-based independent front suspension and trailing arm and coil spring rear, but by 1963, returned to a more conventional coil spring approach. Engine options included I6 and small block V8s. A 305 cu in GMC V6 engine was also available on GMC models. This 305 was actually from GMC's medium-duty truck line. It featured high torque but was also notable for poor fuel economy. Transmissions were a 3-speed and 4-speed manual, the automatic Powerglide, and the dual-range Hydra-Matic in the GMC models. A 15-passenger conversion was done by Stageway of Fort Smith, Arkansas. These modified Suburbans had 3 doors on the right, a 171 in wheelbase, were 273 in long, and weighed 6,300 pounds. 1-ton, 10-foot panel truck models were no longer available after 1966. Chevrolet Veraneo in 1964. Chevrolet in Brazil introduced a 5-door version of the Suburban called C-1416. It was based on the contemporary Brazilian Chevrolet C14. Like the C14, the C-1416 Veraneo used the instrument cluster from the USC per Kelvin series, although the exterior sheet metal layout is exclusive to Brazil. It was initially powered with a Chevrolet 4.2L inline-6 based on the pre-1962 Stovebolt engines. Later it used the 250 SID 4.1L engine from Chevrolet's Brazilian midsize sedan, the Opala. The original version of the Veraneo was kept in production, with another grille and interior, until 1988, but it was eventually replaced with an updated version based on the Serie 20 family. The second generation of Veraneo was produced from 1989 to 1995. In 1997 GM introduced the then-current North American pickups to the Brazilian market, replacing the long-running C-Series. The Brazilian version of the Suburban was also converted to the current generation at the time and lasted until 2001 as the Grand Blazer, succeeding the Veraneo. The 4.1L inline-6 engine with 138 horsepower was offered on both models with option for a MWM 4.2L turbodiesel unit with 168 horsepower. In 2015, AutoWeek ranked the Veraneo 4th among Chevrolet station wagons never sold in the U.S. It also cited the vehicle's design as «baroque» and summed it up as a 1960s Brazilian crossover. AutoWeek noted that the Veraneo is eligible for import to the United States under the 25-year exemption. The 6th generation Suburbans featured a single driver side door and 2 passenger side doors, and were available in both 2WD and 4WD models. Engines offered over the 6 model years included the 250 and 292C inline-6, 283, 307, 327, and 350C small block V8, and 396 402nd big block V8. For the first time, a 3/4-ton version was available. It also became a larger size vehicle as well with the introduction of the K5 Blazer that debuted in 1968 for the 1969 model year. This series would also be the last to offer C10 and C-20 panel truck models for commercial purposes, with 1970 as the last year. 1971 models featured disc brakes on the front wheels, and 1972 was the last year for coil spring rear suspension on 2WD models. 1972 also introduced a smaller housing for the rear seat air conditioning. The comfort tilt steering wheel became optional in 1971. This generation of Suburban coincided with the rapid growth of the recreational vehicle market. While only about 6,200 Suburbans were produced in 1967, by 1972 that number had grown to some 27,000. 7th generation with the 3rd generation rounded line C, R and K, V models, the Suburban became a 4-door vehicle. The rounded line 1970s body style remained largely unchanged for 19 model years, making this series the longest Suburban generation in production. 2WD and 4WD models were both available in 1/2 and 3/4-ton chassis. Suburbans for model year 1973 now had 2 doors on each side, front and rear air conditioning, a baggage rack, a heater under the 3rd seat and step plates for easier access. A new Eaton automatic differential lock was introduced as an option extra for the rear differential. For the 1973 model year, the base engine was the 250 SID inline-6, with a 307 or 350 cubic inch small block V8, or the new for 1973-454 SID big block V8 optional. The 307 V8 was dropped for 1974, supplanted by the 305 and 400 small block V8s in 1976. The 400 was dropped after 1980, leaving the 350 as the only available engine in K-Series Suburbans, as the 454 was not yet offered in 4X FAs. In 1982 a new 6.2L Detroit diesel V8 engine was available, producing 130 horsepower and 240 lb-ft of torque. The diesel later became the engine of choice for Suburbans exported to Europe from USA. Except for the discontinuation of the 305 V8 in 1988, the engine lineup continued mostly unchanged, with the 350, 454, and 6.2 diesel, until the Suburban was redesigned onto the GMT 400 chassis in 1992. 3-speed turbo Hydra Motich 350 and 400 automatic transmissions were available, and the 4-speed turbo Hydra Motich 700 R4 was introduced in 1981 and was available with the small block and 6.2-liter diesel. Towing packages, with lower axle ratio and heavy-duty cooling additions, were optional. Trim options included the base model and the upgraded versions. Optional second and third row bench seats allowed for 9-passenger configurations. A popular N-gate option was offered to replace the conventional swinging panel doors. The N-gate included a hidden manual crank handle on the exterior for lowering the rear glass. N-gates could be ordered with an electrically operated window regulator to replace the exterior crank, which used a key to operate. Once the rear glass was down, the N-gate became a pickup-style tailgate that folded down for cargo loading. Rear floor heat and ceiling air conditioning systems were optional. The standard 25-gallon fuel tank could be replaced with 30-gallon or a 40-gallon. For model year 1981, automatic locking front hubs were added for shift-on-the-move four-wheel drive models, and the NP208 transfer case replaced the NP205 in most models. For 1984, asbestos was removed from rear brakes. For 1985, a new grille was used. A total of 64,670 Suburbans were made in 1985. For model year 1987, the method of fuel delivery for the engines was switched from carburetors to electronic fuel injection. The system that GM chose was called throttle body injection, or TBI. Suburban gained rear-wheel anti-lock braking system for the 1990 model year. A heavy-duty 4-speed automatic transmission, the 4L80E, was added for 1991. Also for 1989, the grille was redesigned to accommodate a quad side-by-side headlight setup and larger marker lights, turn signals than the previous dual-filament single headlight setup, which was styled concurrently with the GMT 400 light-duty trucks. Economy models were available with only 2 headlights. GM temporarily changed the usual C per Kelvin designation to R and V for the 1987 through 1991 model years. This was done to avoid confusion with the GMT 400-based Chevrolet C per Kelvin pickup trucks, which were introduced in 1987, during the overlap period. 8th generation the GMT 400-based Suburbans were introduced in December 1991 for the 1992 model year. The C per Kelvin pickup had already switched to the newer platform in 1987 for the 1988 model year. Both 2WD and 4WD models, designated C and K, were offered, as well as half-ton and three-quarter-ton models. The base engine for all variants was the small block 5.7-liter V8. The big block 7.4L V8 was optional for the 2500 series. The optional 6.5L turbo diesel was available on all models, though rare on the 1500 series. The 6.5L turbo diesel used in the Tahoe was detuned to 380 pound-feet torque due to the limitation of the 8.5-inch axle capacity. 1500 Suburbans with the 6.5L turbo diesel used the 14-bolt axle from the 2500 series. Ground clearance was 6.9 inches, the approach angle was 18 degrees for the K1500 and the breakover angle was 18 degrees. Transmissions included the 4L6 4-speed automatic in the 1500 series, and the heavier-duty 4L8 4-speed automatic in the 2500 series and the 1500 series fitted with the 6.5L turbo diesel. The manual transmission option from the previous generation was dropped. The GMT 400 series introduced independent front suspension. The 2WD models used coil springs and 4WD models used torsion bars in the front suspension. All models used a live axle and leaf springs in the rear. 0 to 60 mph time for a 1995 Suburban was 9.3 seconds. Top speed of a 1995 Suburban is governed on the engine for economy. A maximum of 98 mph can be obtained. City fuel economy was 13 mpg US and highway was 15 mpg US, while the turning circle was 47.8 feet. In 1996, fuel economy had improved to 17 mpg US highway. Trim options included a base-level version, the LS and the LT. Interior seating arrangements allowed for either bucket or bench seating in the first row and optional third-row bench. The vehicle could be configured from 2 to 9 passenger seating. Beginning in 1994, GM began making numerous annual changes to the Suburban, including, revised front clip and center stop lamp, revised interior including a driver side airbag, revised side mirrors, revised Vortec L31 and Vortec 7400 engines with increased power and fuel efficiency, electronic 4WD shifting, daytime running lights, illuminated entry, and some new interior features, revised transmissions, improved steering system, and added passenger side airbag OnStar, pass-lock security system and full-time AutoTrack 4WD option added, next generation depowered airbags, revised steering wheel, transmissions revised again. No major changes upon introduction of redesigned 2000 models Holden Suburban in Australia and New Zealand. Holden imported the right-hand drive Chevrolet Suburban built by GM in Silao, Mexico, between February 1998 and January 2001. The Suburban was first previewed in October 1997 at the Sydney Motor Show. In total, 746 were sold. After 2001, subsequent models reverted to the original Chevrolet brand, which had also been used before 1998. Over the model's lifetime there were 3 trim levels: a base model, the LS and the LT. Not to be confused with the trim variants as the model code, designated K8. The Holden's interior differed from that of the American version, as the right-hand drive dashboard of the Blazer was used instead. However, it had to be stretched on the passenger side to fit in the larger Suburban. A bench seat came standard on the entry-level variant as well as the LS, but the more expensive Lieutenant received bucket seats. With the omission of the center seat, the Lieutenant has a maximum seating capacity of 8, compared to 9. Creature comfort standard in all models included a LCD compass in the rear view mirror, a tilt-adjustable steering wheel, a driver's airbag, ABS brakes, and dual-zone air conditioning. The second-tier LS brought alloy wheels, power windows and mirrors among some features. To further up the ante, the LT gained electric front seats, leather trim, and a horizontally slated, 2-part tailgate. This came as opposed to the barn doors found on the other specifications. The Suburban was offered with the choice of either a 5.7-liter Vortec V8, producing 190 kilowatts and 447 Nm of torque, or a 6.5-liter turbodiesel V8 outputting 145 kilowatts and 583 Nm. The former choice was designated the 1500 name, while the turbodiesel saw the 2500 identify. The 5.7-liter petrol engine is LPG compatible, and such systems can be retrofitted if desired. Regardless of the engine specified, the truck was equipped with a 4-speed automatic transmission. However, what differed was the type of transmission. Petrol motors were fitted with the GM4L60E transmission, with the GM4L80E reserved for the diesel. A dashboard switch allows the vehicle to power all 4 wheels simultaneously, or the rear wheels only, and allows the low-range gearing to be engaged. The vehicle's fuel efficiency has been rated at 19.7 L 100 km for the diesel specification, with that figure rising to 21.8 L 100 km for the petrol model. With the hefty fuel consumption comes a 159-liter fuel tank. To combat the extra payload and towing capacity of the diesel, an improved braking package, as well as super heavy-duty axles and suspension were fitted. Holden recommends a maximum 3,400 kg towing limit for the turbo diesels, with a reduced figure of 2,720 kg for the petrol models. The Holden Suburban's run wasn't the first or only time that Holden had sold the GMT 400 platform in Oceania. Beginning in 1996, they imported GMCC per kilo second for ambulance conversions. Unlike the Suburbans, these vehicles were not available to the general public, nor did they bear Holden badging. They also were not built as right-hand drives from the factory like the Suburban was. The same company that handled the ambulance conversion also switched the steering to the other side. Ninth generation the GMT 800 base Suburbans were introduced in late December 1999 and January 2000 for the 2000 model year. They were sold in 2 series, 1/2 ton 1500 and 3/4 ton 2500. Suburbans came in base, LS, and LT trims. Optional was a push-button 4WD with a low-range transfer case. A tow hitch with a trailer wiring plug was optional. For 2000, Chevrolet's long-serving 5.7L and 7.4L V8 engines were retired along with the 6.5L diesel. New engines were Vortec 5300 5.3L for the 1500 series and Vortec 6000 6.0L for the 2500 series. Where Chevrolet kept the Tahoe, Suburban branding, GMC renamed their GMT 800 products Yukon and Yukon XL, a change that continues to the present day. The shorter 116 inches wheelbase became the Yukon and the full-length 130 inches wheelbase became the Yukon XL. Yukons were delivered in SLE, SLT and Denali finish packages.
New features included, a spare tire relocated beneath the vehicle puddle lamps, in the exterior mirrors on LS and LT models, new instrument panel including a driver message center and engine hour meter, electronic climate control available on Lieutenant models, 4-wheel disc brakes, load leveling auto-ride suspension available on Lieutenant models, premium ride rear self-leveling suspension available on LS models, digital components, new wheels, new interior, new modern dashboard, taillights with separate amber-colored turn signal indicators for 2001. The 6.0 LV8 in 2500 series Suburbans gained 20 horsepower from a number of changes including aluminum cylinder heads. The new Vortec 8108.1 LV8 was added as an option for the 2500 as well. OnStar became standard on Lieutenant models and LS models with the new Z71 package. Quadristeer 4-wheel steering was added as an option on 2500 models only. 2002 saw several optional features made standard equipment on the LS model, including front and rear air conditioning, alloy wheels, power windows, power front seats, side steps, fog lamps, and heated outside rearview mirrors. Base models were discontinued, leaving LS and LT. The Vortec 5300 L59 variant in the 1500 series added flex fuel capability. The 6.0 engine was not available in the 1500 series. For 2003, all GM full-size trucks received an upgraded interior, with better quality materials and other enhancements. New radios offered radio data system compatibility, XM satellite radio, Bose sound and improved ergonomics. Adjustable pedals were added as an option, and the instrument cluster-mounted driver information center was improved and monitored up to 34 vehicle functions. A Panasonic DVD system was added as an option. GM StabiliTrak system was added, and quadristeer became available on 2500 series Suburbans. Towing capacity for quadristeer-equipped vehicles was reduced by 300 pounds. For 2004, 1500 series Suburbans received the HydroBoost braking system that was previously introduced in the 2500 series. The Mexican market Suburban received a front-end update this year, matching that of the Silverado. The 2005 model year saw the long standard side hinged panel doors discontinued in favor of the formerly optional liftgate. All engines switched to an all-electric cooling system to reduce power loss and fuel consumption. The Z71 package, long exclusive to 4 WD models, became available on 2 WD Suburbans. OnStar also became standard across the board. Finally, StabiliTrak became standard on all models shortly after the start of the model year. The 2005 Suburban 1500 won the J.D. Power & Associates Award for highest initial quality among large SUVs, beating out its rivals the Ford Expedition and Toyota Sequoia. For 2006, the GMT 800 Suburbans last year, a special LTZ trim package became available, featuring 20-inch wheels, all-wheel drive, and the LQ4 6.0L engine of the 2500 series of trucks and SUVs. The catalytic converters were relocated closer to the engine. The XM radio antenna and the OnStar antenna were combined into a single unit. Engines Vortec 5300, 325 cu and V8,270 horsepower, 285 horsepower, 295 horsepower at 5,200 revolutions per minute and 335 pounds, ft of torque at 4,000 revolutions per minute. Vortec 6000, 364 cu and V8 of torque at 4,000 revolutions per minute. Vortec 8100, 496 cu and V8 of torque at 3,200 revolutions per minute. Vortec 5700, 350 cu and V8 remained in use in 2002-00 Suburbans, Tahoes as well as Silverado pickup trucks in the Mexican market. 10th generation The 2007 model year Suburban and Yukon XL were unveiled at the 2006 Los Angeles Auto Show in January. Production of the redesigned GMT 900 Suburban and Yukon XL began at Janesville Assembly and Silao Assembly in January 2006–April 2006, with the vehicles arriving at dealerships in April. The new models were redesigned with more modern, less boxy styling, already seen on the previously released 2007 Tahoes and Yukons. The exterior features a more aerodynamic shape, made partly by a steeply raked windshield angle. The interior has a redesigned dashboard and improved seats. It still retains its 9-passenger seating availability, which is available on LS and SLE models only. LT2 and LT3 models have leather seating and available 6, 7, and 8-passenger seating. A Z71 package was available on LT2 and LT3 models, which includes 2-tone leather seats. All Mexican-built Suburbans including the 9-seat models offer the special 2-tone leather seating used by the Z71. The Suburban LTZ comes standard with a DVD player and a GPS navigation-enhanced touchscreen radio. For the 2010 model year, in which U.S. News & World Report ranked it as the #1 affordable large SUV, the Suburban added a premium interior package that includes tri-zone climate control and handy features like Bluetooth and rear audio controls. Additionally, radios that are standard in all 2010 trims got a USB port,
allowing for music to be played from auxiliary devices through the radio, as well as charging other small electronics. Side blind zone alert became an option on LT and LTZ. The 6.0-liter engine in the 2010 models will also be flex fuel capable. Minor front-end changes including a slightly raised front bumper and side torso airbags were also made standard for 2010. In February 2010, Chevrolet unveiled a 75th anniversary edition of the Suburban, which had the LTZ trim with white diamond tricoat exterior paint and cashmere interior, along with standard 20-inch chrome-clad wheels, revised roof rails, integrated navigation radio, XM satellite radio, Bluetooth phone connectivity, rear-view camera, rear park assist, remote starting, adjustable pedals, and leather upholstery with heated, cooled front seats. Chevrolet says that the anniversary edition will be limited to 2,570 units because of the amount of white diamond paint GM can procure. The 5.3L and 6.0L engines carried over, and a new 403 horsepower 6.2L Vortec V8 was added for the Yukon XL Denali. The 8.1L engine was dropped. For the 2011 model year, the Suburban will add 3 new exterior colors to the lineup: Mocha Steel Metallic, Green Steel Metallic, and Ice Blue Metallic. The trims will also get an updated modification, with the rear audio system, Bluetooth, floor console, storage area, wood-grain interior, luggage rack rails, body color exterior door handle, mirror caps, and premium cloth front bucket seats now standard on the 1LS trim, and chrome recovery hooks, 2-speed transfer case, and 20-inch chrome wheels standard on its 1LS 4WD models. In addition, the trailering package will feature the trailer brake controller as a standard on all trims. For the 2012 model year, trailer sway control and hill start assist become standard on all trims, while the LTZ trim added a heated steering wheel and side blind zone alert as a standard. Also, the LT 1/2 options for the Suburban and SLE 1/2 and SLT 1/2 options on the Yukon XL were discontinued, leaving the Suburban with only an LS, LT, and LTZ trim and the Yukon XL with an SLE and SLT trim. In 2012, GMC celebrated its 100th anniversary by releasing a special edition of its Yukon XL, offering a Heritage Edition trim package. This was the final year that 3 colors, Greystone Metallic, Gold Mist Metallic, and Blue Topaz Metallic, would be offered, along with the all-season Blackwall P265/65 R18 tires. For the 2013 model year, 2 new colors were offered, Champagne Silver Metallic and Blu-ray Metallic. Also new is powertrain-grade braking, normal mode. The 2013 model arrived at Chevrolet dealers in June 2012. For the 2014 model year, power-adjustable pedals, remote vehicle starter system, and rear parking assist along with rear vision camera and inside mirror with camera display became standard on the Suburban LS trims. Concord Metallic was added to the Suburban color offerings for the 2014 models. For the Yukon XL, a convenience package became standard on its SLE models, along with a new color, Deep Indigo Metallic. In February 2014, the Suburban came in second behind the Tahoe among the top-ranked large affordable SUVs by U.S. News & World Report. This would be followed by being acknowledged as an award recipient in the large SUV category by J.D. Power and Associates in July 2014. The 3/4-ton model's towing capacity is 9,600 pounds, being one of the best of any 4x4 SUV and unmatched by any other SUV. The towing capacity of the Suburban 2500 was unmatched, but also uncontested due to the discontinuation of the Ford Excursion in 2006. The 3/4-ton model also has a GCVW of 16,000 pounds. The 2500 Suburban was originally sourced from Silao, Mexico from 2007 to 2008 but was moved to the Arlington, Texas assembly plant for the 2009 model year, where production of all GM full-size SUVs was consolidated after the closing of the Janesville plant. GM discontinued the 2500 and 3/4-ton versions of both Suburban and Yukon XL models after the 2013 model year. The 10th-generation Suburban's design provided the basis for the Déclassé Granger and its law enforcement counterparts, a line of fictitious SUVs that are featured in the Grand Theft Auto video game series as of Grand Theft Auto 5. 11th generation. The 11th generation Chevrolet Suburban, GMC Yukon XL, and Yukon Denali Xl were introduced to the public on September 12, 2013, and GM unveiled the vehicles in different locations on that date. Both vehicles are based on the GM TK2XX platform and carried unique serial designated numbers identified by platform, brand, drivetrain, tonnage, wheelbase, and 06 for SUV, which means that a K2YCK the 6th of September 15 would be identified as a Chevrolet Suburban 1500 4WD. The Suburban and Yukon XL went on sale in February 2014 as a 2015 model, with the vehicles built exclusively in Arlington, Texas. Production details. The newly redesigned Suburban and Yukon XL were showcased to the public for the first time on September 27, 2013, at the State Fair of Texas. This move comes on the heels of the 80th anniversary of the first production of the Suburban in 1934. The designs and concepts were created by GM's exterior design manager Chip Thole, who told Truck Trend, "I start with what intuition tells me about the market and get the team going on that. You look at trends around the industry, fashion, culture, what people are buying, what they say they want now, and project that into the future. The fun part is putting those ideas to paper and going from there." He then added, "We wanted to take what was good about today's vehicles, bring that forward and make them new and different with that spark of freshness that people recognize, without making them gimmicky or overdone." Thole also challenged his design team to help bring ideas to the SUVs, which lead to the split headlamps and a more graphic feel for the Suburban design, while a more industrial but sculptured look was added to the Yukon XL to give it a unique identity of its own. Production on the Suburban and Tahoe began in December 2013 with the first completed SUVs being used for testing purposes. GM then officially started shipping the vehicles to dealerships on February 5, 2014. It is estimated that it takes 8 to 10 weeks to assemble the SUVs, save for the upgrades on the level trims and destination scheduling. Chevrolet introduced the designs, choices and build-your-own features for the 2015 models on its website in January 2014 with a set price starting at $47,000 to $50,000 for the LS trim, $52,000 to $55,000 for the LT trim, and $61,000 to $65,000 for the LTZ trim. The pricing on GMC's Yukon XL was set at around $49,000 to $52,000 for the SLE, $57,000 to $60,000 for the SLT, and $65,000 to $68,000 for the Denali trims. Features. The front fascia of the Chevy Suburban and GMC Yukon XL are distinct, but from the base of the 8 pillars back, they share most of the same styling cues. This now includes inlaid doors that tuck into the door sills, instead of over them, improving aerodynamics, fuel economy, and lessens interior noise. The hoods and liftgate panels are made of aluminum to reduce vehicle weight, and the wiper blades that were located on the liftgate door were moved to the rear spoiler located on the top of the rear liftgate window. Also noticeable is the SUV's length, which expands from 222.4 to 224.4 in, and its width from 79.1 to 80.5 in, while the height decreases from 76.8 to 74.4 in, thus allowing the vehicle to become slightly leaner, a little bit wider, more streamlined, and roomier. A more efficient, direct-injected Ecotec 3V8 powertrain coupled with improved aerodynamics, helped the SUVs offer greater estimated highway fuel economy and improving its fuel economy estimates to 16 mpg, 23 mpg, 18 for 2WD, and 15 mpg, 22 mpg, 18 for 4WD. The increased fuel economy also vaulted the Suburban Yukon XL into the top spot among large SUVs with the most efficient fuel economy rating numbers for the segment. However, when Motor Trend did a road test review on the SUVs, it estimated the 4WD MPG on the Suburban LTZ to be slightly better at around 15.2 city and 22.3 highway, while the 4WD Yukon Denali XL, whose fuel economy is rated at 14 city, 20 highway, was estimated lower at 12.4 city and 19.2 highway. Like the 2007-14 version, both the Suburban and Yukon XL do not share a single piece of sheet metal or lighting element with the brand's full-size pickup trucks, and the front grills of both vehicles are slightly altered to give it their own identity. The front headlights feature projector beam headlamps that flank the Chevrolet signature dual-port grille, chrome on all models, sweeping into the front fenders, while the Tahoe, Suburban LTZ, Yukon, and Yukon XL Denali trims feature projector beam high-intensity discharge headlamps and light-emitting diode daytime running lamps. The Yukon and Yukon XL also feature projector beam halogen headlamps on all SLE and SLT trims. The improved safety features included a 360-degree radar detection for crash avoidance and occupant protection and a high-tech anti-theft system that now includes vertical and interior sensors, in-glass and window braking, a triggering alarm, and a shutdown device that prevents the vehicle from moving. The latter is expected to address the issues regarding the constant thefts of the vehicles, especially with the previous generation's removable seats and items left in the cargo space, which has become a target for carjackers who see the third-row seats as valuable on the black market. According to General Motors' head of global vehicle security Bill Biondo, "We have engineered a layered approach to vehicle security," adding that, with new standard features and the available theft protection package, we are making the vehicles less attractive target to thieves and more secure for our customers. Also new are the addition of fold-flat second and third-row seats, which is now a standard feature but can be equipped with an optional power folding feature for the upgraded trims, and an additional 2 inches of legroom for second-row passengers. HD radio became a standard feature on all trims. Multiple USB ports and power outlets are now spread throughout their interiors, including one 110-volt, 3-prong outlet on both Suburban and Yukon XL, with the Suburban adding an available 8-inch color touchscreen radio with next-generation MyLink connectivity along with an available rear-seat entertainment system with dual screens and Blu-ray DVD player, while the Yukon XL adds a standard 8-inch diagonal color touchscreen radio with enhanced IntelliLink and available navigation. A 4G LTE Wi-Fi access system, along with Siri eyes-free and text messaging alerts, was included in all vehicles that feature the OnStar device around the second quarter of 2014. The Yukon XL interior has more additional features that include seats stuffed with dual firmness foam, a standard Bose sound system and SD card slots, and laminated glass for the windshield and front windows, decreasing interior noise. The Denali Yukon XLs comes equipped with active noise cancellation technology, with GM's third-generation magnetic ride control suspension as a standard feature, which is only featured on the Suburban LTZ models, whose upgraded features also includes a real-time damping system that delivers more precise body motion control by reading the road every millisecond and changing damping in just 5 milliseconds. The Suburban will have 8 color palettes to choose from for the 2015 model year: Champagne Silver Metallic, Silver Ice Metallic, White Diamond Tricoat, Sable Metallic, Crystal Red Tricoat, Summit White, Tungsten Metallic, and Black. The GMC Yukon XL palettes will be available in 9 colors: Onyx Black, Summit White, Quicksilver Metallic, Champagne Silver Metallic, Iridium Metallic, Bronze Alloy Metallic, Crystal Red Tintcoat, White Diamond Tricoat, and Midnight Amethyst Metallic. The latter 3 will be the most expensive color trim options. 2015 mid-year update: the Suburban received a new color palette, Brownstone Metallic, and added a hands-free power liftgate feature that is standard on the LTZ but included on the Lieutenant with the optional luxury package. The added 4G LTE Wi-Fi and Siri features became standard on both LT and LTZ trims, while the MyLink with navigation feature was upgraded from optional to standard on the LTZ trim. The E85 capability feature is removed from retail orders. The Yukon XL's 6.2-liter EcoTech 3V8 engine was updated with the new 8L90 E8-speed automatic transmission for the interim model year, allowing it to improve fuel economy. The Yukon XL Denali, however, saw its MSRP bumped up by $1,300 in part due to the loaded features. All GM full-sized SUVs received a body-colored painted shark fin antenna as part of the 2015 mid-year refresh. This refresh is often referred to as the 2015 I for interim processing code. 2016 For the 2016 model year, the Chevrolet Suburban received more upgraded changes and new features that included power-adjustable pedals, forward collision alert, IntelliBeam headlamps, lane keep assist, and a safety alert seat as part of the newly introduced enhanced driver alert package as an available option on the LS trim. The inside floor console with storage area SD card reader was removed, while a new AM/FM audio integrated system with Sirius XM, HD radio, and CD/MP3 capabilities was introduced as a standard feature on all trims. The 8-inch MyLink feature was expanded to the LS trim and became standard, although the navigation feature remains as an option on LT and standard on LTZ. A new liftgate shield was added to the theft protection package, along with the new lane keep assist which replaced the lane departure warning. The capless fuel fill tanks became standard on all trims. Siren Red Tintcoat and Iridescent Pearl Tricoat became the new color trims, replacing Crystal Red Tintcoat and White Diamond Tricoat. The instrument cluster was reconfigured with a new multicolor enhancement, and a heads-up display was introduced as a standard only on the LTZ trim. The 2016 models also saw a price hike as well. The 2016 GMC Yukon XL also sees similar changes, with the new enhanced driver alert package as an available option on the SLE trim, liftgate, power, hands-free now packaged on SLT trims, a free flow feature that replaced the premium package, a lane keep assist added to all trims, and 2 new premium colors replacing Crystal Red Tintcoat and White Diamond Tricoat respectively. Chevrolet added Apple CarPlay and Android Auto capability features to the Suburban starting with the 2016 models. However, only one of their phone brands at any one time can be used, while the Android Auto option will only be available on LT and LTZ trims featuring 8-inch screens. GM expanded newer 4G LTE features to 2016 model year vehicles, including the Suburban, which GM cited as being the vehicle that is the most used among data subscribers. 2017 The 2017 model year Chevrolet Suburban received upgraded changes after it went on sale in August 2016. The level trims LS and LT are retained, but the LTZ is renamed Premier, the latter serving as the equivalent to the Yukon XL Denali. The LS trims also saw the badged LS lettering removed. The new features include 2 new colors, 2 new 22-inch wheel options, black roof rack cross rails, front active arrow shutters, and heated and vented seats. The MyLink was updated to incorporate Team Driver, App Shop, rear seat reminder customization, and low-speed forward automatic braking. The rear seat entertainment system was overhauled to include a new video voiceover feature for the visually and hearing impaired, an HDMI, MHL connector, digital headphones, Digital Living Network Alliance technology incorporated into the Wi-Fi system, and a second USB port with the capability of charging up to a 2.1 amp at the back of the console. The 2017 model year Yukon XL also received similar changes, but with a few exceptions.
Two new colors, dark blue sapphire metallic and mineral metallic, were introduced, the latter exclusive to the Denali, which also added a new 22-inch ultra-bright aluminum wheels with midnight silver premium paint and a head-up display to its features.
The interior backlights changed from red to blue. The heated and vented driver and front passenger seats are now standard on the SLT and Denali trims. 2018 The 2018 model year Suburban had a few upgrades and deletions. LED daytime running lights became standard on all trims, along with a new color, Havana Metallic and Satin Steel Metallic. The cocoa, mahogany interior that was combined with the pepperdust metallic exterior was dropped along with the wireless, inductive phone charging that was part of the luxury and Texas Edition lieutenant-level trims. The Fleet, commercial-level trim, which had fewer features, is upgraded to include MyLink, HD radio, multicolor driver information center, LED daytime running lights, and an optional driver alert package. The 2018 Yukon Denali XL received a new grille with a layered appearance like the ones on its redesigned 2018 Acadia and Terrain brands, featuring high-intensity discharge headlights and LED daytime running lights. The refreshed design provides better airflow to the radiator, and when less cooling air is needed, shutters behind the grille close to improve aerodynamics and increase efficiency. The interior featured new ash wood trim that GMC says gives the cabin a richer appearance. A new 10-speed automatic transmission was mated to its 420 horsepower, 6.2-liter V8 engine, replacing the 8-speed transmission. 2019 The 2019 Suburban will have both Havana Metallic and Tungsten Metallic deleted in favor of a new shadow gray metallic exterior color, while the top-of-the-line Premier will now have the name displayed on the tailgate. The LS trim continues to make HD radio a standard feature, but can be deleted if customers opt for the OnStar feature. The 2019 model year GMC Yukon XL adds three new exterior colors, Dark Sky Metallic, Pepperdust Metallic, and Smoky Quartz Metallic, while deleting two others, Mineral Metallic and Iridium Metallic. GMC also introduces two new package features, Graphite Edition and Graphite Performance Edition, which will be available in the SLT level trim only 2020. The 2020 Chevrolet Suburban dropped the LT Signature package and the LS All-Season package, along with the Pepperdust Metallic color, while the 2020 GMC Yukon XL replaced its Pepperdust Metallic color with Carbon Black Metallic and made no additional changes. Accolades The 2015 Suburban was ranked third among the top affordable SUVs and fifth among affordable SUVs with three-row seats by U.S. News & World Report, and was among the finalists in Motor Trend's SUV of the Year for 2015. It also received a 2015 Motor Week Driver's Choice Award for Best Large SUV, while Consumer Reports ranked the Suburban as the best SUV with a third-row seat, topping its competitors in this category. The Chevrolet Suburban took third place behind the Tahoe and GMC Yukon in the 2016 J.D. Power Vehicle Dependability Study among full-size SUVs, based on responses from owners of the vehicles. Good Housekeeping named the 2018 Suburban the Best New Car of Year 2018 in the large SUV category. In its review of the vehicle from GH and its reason for the decision to award the SUV, whether you're bringing the whole soccer team home or moving kids into college, it's a larger-than-life workhorse that can handle your crew and all their stuff. Consumer Reports added the 2018 Suburban to their recommended list due to high owner satisfaction scores. The Suburban was given a Hollywood Walk of Fame star on December 5, 2019, one of two inanimate objects to be awarded such, for its frequent appearances in film and television. Because city regulations prohibit placing corporate names on public sidewalks including the Walk of Fame, the star was instead placed in an area adjacent to the Walk of Fame. Sales The 11th generation Suburban saw an increase in sales. April 2014 brought a 109.8% spike, with most dealers reporting that the vehicles are being sold within 10 days after arriving on the lot, with customers opting for the fully loaded LTZ model, making it one of Chevrolet's fastest-selling brands in 2014. The 11th generation Suburban is also a hot seller in the Middle East, where in August 2014 posted a 37% increase in sales, with most of the purchases coming from Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates and Qatar. By the end of September 2014, GM sold more than 4,101 units of the Suburban, while the Yukon XL posted 2,165 units sold, with GM boasting that 80% of the vehicles sold were its large SUVs. In Canada, sales of the Suburban reached 966 units in 2014, although the Yukon XL is the best seller in that country with 1,760 vehicles sold that same year. Overall, they account for 70% of GM Canada's SUV sales for 2014. On August 17, 2015, GM confirmed plans to increase production on its large SUVs, especially on the Suburban, Yukon XL, due to lower gas prices and a higher demand for the vehicles. The move also resulted in its Arlington assembly adding more hours and increasing its production from 48,000 SUVs to 60,000 based on the expanding hours and added Saturday overtime shifts. The 2017 My Suburban saw its biggest sales increase in January 2017, when it posted a 72.3% gain, the most ever since January 2008 when it had the 2008 My Suburban. 12th generation. On December 10, 2019, Chevrolet introduced the 12th generation Suburban at Little Caesars Arena in Detroit, Michigan.
This time around, GM chose to introduce the Chevrolet full-size SUVs first.
The GMC Yukon XL was later introduced on January 14, 2020. Although the full-size 5th-generation Cadillac Escalade made its debut on February 4, 2020, its extended-length sibling Escalade ESV was the last GM full-size SUV to be introduced online in April 2020 after it was withdrawn from the cancelled 2020 New York International Auto Show. Originally scheduled to start in April 2020, GM began production on the Suburban on May 18, 2020. They began entering dealerships in June 2020. Chevrolet Suburban 2021. Based on the same GM TT1XX platform as the Silverado 1500, the Suburban distinguished itself by swapping that truck's live axle and leaf springs for an independent rear multilink suspension setup with coil springs, thus lowering the floor of the vehicle and creating more room, in both the cargo area and the second and third row seats. The Suburban expanded its length to 225.7 inches, and the wheelbase to 134.1 inches while shortening down by 15 inches longer due to the rear wheelbase moving back by 5 inches, making it the largest and longest SUV in the extended length segment. It gains 2.0 cubic feet of cargo space behind the third row and 2.2 inches of third row legroom.
The towing capabilities were increased with the 12th generation models.
The trims feature the primary basic LS, LT, and Premier levels, with the 4WD exclusive Z71 and RST moving from package to premium levels, along with the newly added High Country level, the latter being the top of the line. Chevrolet rolled out the LT, Z71, Premier, and High Country levels first, with the LS and RST levels arriving in late fall 2020. Quad exhaust tailpipes are added to the vehicle, giving it a more unique look, although this feature is only standard on Premier and High Country. This feature isn't offered on the LS, LT, Z71 and RST because of their configuration as regular base, off-road, and street-centric level trims respectively, nor on all trims with a Duramax option. The RST Suburban, which had photos released in April 2020, has a unique fascia and a sportier design similar to its Cadillac Escalade ESV sport-level trim. Both Premier and High Country trims have power retractable assist steps that was optional on the Premier trim from the previous generation. Although it retained a boxy look, it added a more curvaceous design with this change and adopted the same Chevrolet design language featuring the front grille and distinct LED lighting that is also used on the Silverado, save for the black-grilled Z71 and RST. The tailgate is more front and center, with the signature Suburban name stretched across it. A combination of sheet metal and aluminum was used to ensure a more lightweight vehicle. The dashboard and entertainment system have been fleshed out, moving away from the traditional design. Newly updated features include a 10.25-inch touchscreen that is now standard on all trims, and a pair of 12.6-inch LCD rear screens that can play movies and offer content from passenger smartphones and can play different programs on the two screens. A new push-button shifter column is placed on the dashboard. 9 camera displays for enhanced towing capabilities and a total of 30 additional safety features have been implemented throughout the Suburban. An air ride adaptive suspension is standard on the higher trims, likewise with an 8-inch driver screen. Another new feature, a power sliding console that became available in late summer 2020. The High Country Suburban also has a deluxe package option with advanced features that is exclusive to this trim only. The 40/20/40 front seat option that was available on the LS trim is now exclusive to fleet orders with this generation using the same base trim. The Suburban also featured a Duramax diesel engine as an option for the first time, and so far the only brand outside its competitors to have this option. A 3.0 Li6 is used which produces 277 horsepower and 460 pound-feet of torque. The 6.2L Ecotec engine that was reserved for the RST trim in the previous generation is exclusive to the High Country level trim. The engine choices added up to improved fuel economy numbers, albeit with an increased MPG for city and a decreased MPG for highway. GM has no plans to offer this model in a 2500 or 3500 series version. 2022 For the 2022 model year, the Suburban will see a increased availability of the 6.2-liter V8, which continues to be standard on High Country but can now be fitted to the RST, Z71, and Premier trim levels, and expands the magnetic ride control damping system to the RST. The 12.3-inch screen becomes standard on the higher trims except for the LS. A newly optional electronic limited slip differential will be available on the Z71 trim and can be used in the 4WD low setting. Yukon XL 2021 GMC unveiled its 12th generation Yukon XL in Vail, Colorado on January 14, 2020, alongside its full-size sibling Yukon. Like the Suburban, the Yukon XL also featured an independent rear suspension, a 3.0-liter inline-six turbodiesel engine, and a top-shelf suspension option featuring air springs and magnetic ride shocks, a standard 5.3-liter V8, an optional 420 HP 6.2-liter V8, and a 10-speed automatic transmission that is standard across the lineup. It also gained 4.1 inches in the wheelbase but only 0.9 inches in overall length, making it still short of the Suburban's length. The dashboard have two versions, one similar to the Suburban while a different one with a larger entertainment screen is exclusive to the Denali.
The Yukon XL's design follows GMC's design language, with the front grille mimicking the Sierra but the tailgate mimicking the GMC crossover SUV lineup with the lights extended to the tailgate doors. The lineup of level trims also expanded as well, with the SLE, SLT, and Denali now joined by the 4WD exclusive AT4, the latter of which comes standard with the magnetic ride control electronically adaptive dampers, AT4 exclusive leather-appointed seats, and stitching with a unique jet black interior color and brandy accents, a heated steering wheel, heated and ventilated front seats, heated second-row outboard seats, a 2-speed transfer case, 20-inch Goodyear all-terrain tires, traction select system with off-road mode, hill descent control, and skid plates.
The Denali level offers 3 packages for this generation, with Deluxe joining the Premium and Ultimate options, and became the only trim to offer quad exhaust tailpipes.
2022 For the 2022 model year, the Yukon XL added a few additions similar to the Suburban, among them a 12.3-inch digital gauge cluster that is now standard on all trims, with Google Assistant, Google Maps and the Google Play Store embedded. The power sliding center console is now standard on the Denali trim. Redwood Metallic is added as a new color option. Availability for international regions. Chevrolet started selling the 12th generation Suburban in Mexico in August 2020, but unlike the United States and Canada, Mexico only offered the Suburban in the LT, RST, and High Country trims. The LS, Z71, and Premier level trims and the Duramax option are not offered for that country. The American-built models will use the GM 10-speed automatic transmission with electronic precision shift technology, manufactured at the GM Silao complex in the state of Guanajuato in central Mexico. The Philippines began selling the 2021 present Suburban in fall 2020, followed by the Middle East region. In November 2020, GM announced that their large SUV lineup would be imported to China, marking the Suburban's maiden entry into the country, starting with the 12th generation models. However, GM later cancelled those plans in February 2021, citing the difficulty of having an import being sold alongside its Chinese-built offerings, the makeup of the facilities that would be required to assemble the full-size SUVs, and concerns that the full-size SUVs won't be able to comply with the stringent emission standards imposed by the government of China. A right-hand drive version of Suburban for Australia and right-hand drive markets to be done by Holden Special Vehicles, which was announced in December 2019, is on hold, citing the low demand, capacity issues at HSV, and highly competitive large luxury SUV and towing market in Australia, although that could change due to GM's partnership with HSV to bring more American vehicles like the Suburban back down under the newly announced GM-SV arrangement. The Yukon XL officially went on sale for the first time ever in Mexico, starting in the fall of 2020 with the 2021 models, where it is only available in the Denali trim. Signature editions beginning with the 2018 model year, Chevrolet offered a «Signature Edition» package, trims of the Suburban. Each of the specialty versions were available at the LT and Premier level trims. Both the Z71 and RST became the 4th and 5th level trims starting with the 12th generation Suburban for the 2021 model year, while the remaining continues as package features. Z71 and Texas Edition. On September 26, 2014, Chevrolet debuted the updated Z71 Suburban at the State Fair of Texas, along with the debut of the Texas Edition Suburban, the latter due to Texas having the most units of Suburbans sold in the United States and to celebrate the 60th anniversary of GM's Arlington assembly plant. Production of the Z71 Suburban began in October 2014. As with the previous Z71 Suburbans, this version continued to be offered in a 4WD-LT trim only, featuring a front skid plate, off-road tires mounted on 18-inch wheels, a unique grille, running boards, and Z71 identification inside and out. Fog lamps, front tow hooks, and front parking assist are also included. The 2016 Z71 package was modified again, as portions of the Z71 items added on the Texas Edition package as an optional feature by request from customers was discontinued, making it a standalone package. The Z71 package was upgraded to a level trim starting with the 12th generation models. The Texas Edition Suburban, which became part of the Texas Edition lineup along with the Tahoe and Silverado, was available in both LT and LTZ trims for the 2015 model year, featuring a maximum trailering package, 20-inch polished aluminum wheels, 22-inch premium painted aluminum wheels, and an exclusive Texas Edition badge. For the 2016 model year, Chevrolet discontinued the LTZ package but modified for the LT package without the requested Z71 features. The 12th generation Suburban will continue to offer the Texas Edition for the LT and Premier trims only when combined with the Luxury, LT Signature, and Premium packages. LT Signature Edition. The Suburban Lieutenant Signature Edition, introduced in the 2018 model year, was an optional package trim, similar to the Luxury package but with less expensive features, available in the LT level trim only.
This option was discontinued after the 2019 model year but will be offered for the 2021 model year.
Midnight Edition. A Midnight Edition Suburban, an all-black optional package available in 4 WDLT and Z71 versions, was introduced for the 2017 model year.
This version became part of the Signature Edition Suburban feature for the 2018 model year up until the 2020 model year.
Premier Plus. On August 13, 2018, Chevrolet introduced a more upgraded version of the top-of-the-line Premier level trim of the Suburban, packaged as the Premier Plus, featuring a 6.2L engine, the classic gold bowtie emblems, chrome nameplate badging, and new polished 22-inch wheels.
The interior is unique to these models, boasting with heated, ventilated black and mahogany leather front seats, jet black trim surround, a head-up display, and an 8-inch cluster. The exterior features standard crossrails, chrome power steps, and chrome exhaust tips. This feature was discontinued in the 2020 model year. RST Edition. Chevrolet added a new package to the 2018 model year Suburban with the introduction of the street-themed RST Special Edition Suburban. Originally at the time of the announcement, it was supposed to be available as an option for the LT and Premier trims as a performance package that included a 420 HP, 6.2L V8 engine, a magnetic ride control with performance calibration, and an all-new Hydra Modich 10L80 10-speed automatic transmission. The press release also detailed additional features. The chrome elements are absent as body-color grilles surround the door and handles, along with an added gloss black grille and mirror caps, black roof rails, window trim, badging and Chevy bowties, and exclusive 22-inch wheels wrapped in Bridgestone P285 45 R22 tires, a Borla performance exhaust system, massive front red Brembo 6-piston, fixed aluminum calipers with brake pads clamping on larger-than-stock 410 mm x 32 mm Duralife rotors, coupled with an 84% increase in brake pad area and a 42% increase in rotor area to increase system thermal capacity. However, after the press release, Chevrolet confirmed that the RST Suburban would only be available as an appearance package, as the 6.2L engine would not be used for the 2018 model year. But on May 4, 2018, Chevrolet expanded the RST package to the Suburban as an option for the 2019 model year that will now include the 10-speed automatic transmission and 6.2L engine, reversing a decision made by GM that it would be exclusive to GMC and Cadillac Suburban siblings Yukon XL and Escalade ESV. The package trim went on sale in July 2018. The RST package option became a level trim with the 12th generation Suburban for the 2021 model year. 2500 HD and 3500 HD Suburban. A 2500 HD Suburban became available in 2015 as a 2016 model. However, this version, identified as a Class 3 vehicle, is only available for sale to rental companies and commercial fleet entities as a 4WD vehicle and will use the same design as the 11th generation version, but uses a different engine altogether. The 2500 HD Suburban is only offered in LS and LT trims, reserving the LTZ trim for a more luxurious offering. There is No. 2 WD or upgraded packages. In addition, there are no plans to offer a 3/4-ton GMC Yukon XL as GM is making the design exclusive to Chevrolet for the time being. A 1-ton, Suburban 3500 HD, which would be a GM unique SUV, was introduced for the 2016 model year. This is government exclusive and available in 4 WDLS and LT trims only, weighing around 11,000 pound GVWR, 17-inch machined aluminum wheels, a high-capacity air cleaner, 220-amp alternator, external engine oil cooler, and auxiliary transmission cooler. Although the vehicle has a high GVWR, it is configured to provide a minimal towing capacity and is primarily intended for conversion to an armored vehicle. This version does not include HD radio, nor is there a GMC Yukon XL equivalent, making this version exclusive to Chevrolet as well. The 2020 model year would be the last year for these two features, as GM has decided not to carry them over to the 12th generation models for the time being. Additional changes upgrades. There was no diesel variant of the full-size SUVs for the 2015 to 2020 model year versions. GM offered another off-road variant or trim for the Suburban and Yukon XL starting with the 11th generation. With the relaunch of the Z71 package in the Suburban for the 2015 to 2020 models, GM filed papers to trademark the Trail Boss name for use on future Chevrolet truck and SUV models, although they were never used for the Suburban trims. Concept versions. On November 4, 2013, Chevrolet unveiled a concept design for the Suburban called the Half-Pipe, whose features include roof racks and crossbars to mount skis, at the SEMA show. Afterwards, Chevrolet made its parts available for order at Chevrolet Accessories. At the 2017 SEMA show, a 4x4 off-road Suburban concept inspired by country singer Luke Bryan based around his 2016 song, Huntin', Fishin' and Lovin' Every Day, was introduced, decked out in custom Hunter bronze exterior color with dark carbon accents and camo graphics, a roof-mounted light rack and a custom lower fascia, a liftgate re-engineered to swing outward rather than upward and incorporates a custom spare tire mount, 22-inch wheels with 35-inch tall tires, roof-mounted equipment carrier with a fishing rod holder. An interior design consisting of black and two-tone olive with argon orange. Unique seating featuring argon piping and platinum camo pattern perforated designs. And the "Huntin', Fishin' and Lovin' Every Day" badges displayed on both the exterior and interior. The rear windows are removed. The concept was inspired by Brian himself and collaborated with Chevrolet on this project as he is an owner of a Suburban. "Chevy has been part of our family and a part of our work life on the farm for as long as I can remember," says Brian. "If you were a Brian, you drove a Chevy, and I'm a longtime Suburban owner. This partnership is a natural fit for me and this unique Suburban represents everything I and my family want for our outdoor adventures." Aftermarket Options. In 2011, Callaway Cars offered an upgraded Eden supercharger package to the Suburban for an additional $15,995. In 2014, Callaway once again offered a supercharged version of the new 2015 K2XX Suburban. In 2015, Casa Performance added a cat-back exhaust system package for customers looking to upgrade their K2XX Suburban or Yukon XL, which would give the 5.3L versions a 669% flow increase and the 6.2L versions a 342% flow increase. In 2018, Freedom Mobility partnered with GM to have their trucks and SUVs equipped with features that will make it accessible to disabled and visible, hearing-impaired drivers or passengers. The Suburban is among the selected vehicles that will be available with this option. Military applications. When production of the CUC-V2 ended in 2000, GM redesigned it to coincide with civilian truck offerings. The CUC-V nomenclature was changed to Light Service Support Vehicle in 2001. In 2005, LSSV production switched to AM General, a unit of McAndrews and Forbes Holdings. The LSSV is a GM-built Chevrolet Silverado 1500, Chevrolet Silverado 2500 HD, Chevrolet Tahoe, or Chevrolet Suburban that is powered by a Duramax 6.6-liter turbo diesel engine. As GM has periodically redesigned its civilian trucks and SUVs from 2001 to the present, LSSVs have also been updated cosmetically. The militarization of the standard GM trucks, SUVs to become LSSVs includes exterior changes such as carc paint, blackout lights, military bumpers, a brushguard, a NATO slave receptacle, NATO trailer receptacle, a pintle hook, tow shackles, and a 24/12-volt electrical system. The dashboard has additional controls and data plates. The truck also can be equipped with weapon supports in the cab, cargo tie-down hooks, folding troop seats, Pioneer tools, winches, and other military accessories. In the Canadian Army these vehicles are nicknamed Milverado. The Enhanced Mobility Package option adds an upgraded suspension, four-wheel anti-lock brakes, a locking rear differential, bead-lock tires, a tire pressure monitoring system, and other upgrades. About 2,000 LSSV units have been sold to U.S. and international military and law enforcement organizations. Variants: cargo, troop carrier, pickup cargo, troop carrier, command vehicle cargo, troop carrier, command vehicle, ambulance. Panel trucks. The first to 6 generations had panel truck models. The panel truck models were replaced by the Chevrolet Greenbrier van. The Greenbrier van shared some of its components and parts with the Chevrolet Apache. Panel truck conversions of later generation Suburbans are aftermarket conversions. The back doors of the Greenbrier van were the ones from the Task Force panel truck. The panel truck models were discontinued because the unibody-based vans had become more popular than pickup truck-based vans. Recalls. On March 28, 2014, GM announced a recall on the 2015 Suburban and Yukon XL in order to fix a transmission oil cooler line that is not securely seated in its fitting, causing the vehicle to stop and rupture the oil cooling line, resulting in the engine to malfunction and catch fire immediately. The move comes on the heels on an incident that happened on March 23, 2014, when a 2015 GMC Yukon caught fire in Anaheim, California during a test drive. Despite being an isolated incident, the 2015 Suburban and Yukon XL are not tied to GM's announced recall of its vehicles that was made on March 17, 2014. On June 6, 2014, GM issued another recall on the 2015 Suburban and Yukon XL because their radio control modules may not work, and thus prevent certain audible safety warnings. This would be followed on June 27 with another recall, in which the transfer case may electronically switch to neutral without input from the driver, adding that if this occurs while the vehicle is moving, power will not be sent to the wheels, meaning that if the vehicle is parked, it may roll away unexpectedly if the parking brake has not been set. On December 5, 2014, GM announced that it is replacing ignition key units on the 2015 Suburban and Yukon XL after customers made complaints that the shift lever strikes the head of the key if the tilt-adjustable steering column is in the fully up position. The lever only can be moved out of park into a gear when the engine is running and the driver's foot is on the brake. The push-button ignition features are not affected. On January 4, 2015, GM issued a recall on 10th-generation Suburbans and Yukon XLs from the 2011 and 2012 model years for a potential ignition lock actuator issue, citing that they are not the right size and can cause the ignition to get stuck in the start position, and then either due to a jarring event or a cool interior temperature. the ignition could switch back to the accessory position, resulting in a loss of power assistance and prevent the airbags from deploying. On December 30, 2015, the NHTSA revealed that it had received complaints from 2015 Suburban, Yukon XL owners about buffeting and vibration problems causing drivers and passengers to endure an annoying vibration inside the cabin so severe that it leads to dizziness and headaches. GM is aware of this and has moved to correct the situation and try to pinpoint the source, but assures the vehicles are safe to drive. On May 3, 2016, GM placed a recall on both 2016 model Suburbans and Yukon XLs over inadequate welds on their upper front control arms, which could result in an accident or injury. On February 4, 2017, GM issued a recall of 2016 and 2017 Chevrolet Suburban HD models over an improperly fixed right-hand rear view outside mirror which GM says will be replaced for free. The recall affected 211 vehicles.